Welcome to Pat Stats. Today, we are continuing the off-season series of the uniform review. If you haven't seen my previous 3 uniform reviews, I recommend you watch those so you get a context of what we do in a uniform review. So let's get started. Today with the National League East. We're going to start with the Atlanta Braves. You can see here is the Atlanta Braves uniform lineup. They have their home white, road gray, and 3 alternates. A home red, a home cream, and a road navy blue. And going into this year, they had a schedule for it. Home red, that was worn on Fridays. Home cream was worn on home Sundays. And the road navy was worn on random road games. And for the most part, they stuck true to this schedule. There was one major change, though. They scrapped the cream alternate uniform at home for that, which previously was worn on Sundays, and instead wore the red uniform on Sundays. So they wore the red a lot more in 2020. I don't know why they did that. I like the cream, so I would be disappointed if that was permanently gone. I thought that was interesting, new for this year. And as for the road navy blue, well, I'll just give you the pace at which they wore that. They wore that 19 times, and in the normal season, that would be on pace for 51 games, which would have been a 64% increase from 2019. So they wore that technically more. Moving on to the next team in the National League East, the Miami Marlins. They have a pretty strict uniform schedule with the home white and the road gray. The two black alternates, one can be worn at home and one can be worn on the road. The schedule is that the 2 black alternates are worn on Fridays and Saturdays, either at home or on the road. And for the most part, they stuck true to that. The black was not worn 3 times when it was supposed to be, but those were excusable because all 3 times they were playing against a team that was wearing navy blue. And MLB does not like to have the 2 teams wearing similar colors. Both of those colors are pretty dark. So that's why the Marlins wore the gray or the white all 3 of those times. And if you watched my previous videos, you know that Jackie Robinson Day weekend, teams were only allowed to wear 1 uniform. And for the Marlins, it was black. It was a black uniform, which means they also had to wear it on a Sunday. And for the doubleheaders, because you know the Marlins played a lot of doubleheaders last year, they wore the black uniform in the second game of every single doubleheader. Moving on to the New York Mets, my favorite team. They have a nice simple uniform lineup. Home pinstripes, road gray, and then the home blue alternate and a road blue alternate. I'll just give you how often they wore the alternates. At home, they wore it only 3 times for an 8-game pace, and that's right about where it was in 2019. They wore it for 9 games in 2019. And as for the road blue, they wore that 7 games for an 18-game pace in a normal season for an 80% increase in 2019. So they wore that road blue uniform a little bit more. And then for the second to last team, we have the Philadelphia Phillies, who have home pinstripes, road gray, a home cream, and a home powder blue. The home cream is worn in the day, and the home powder blue is worn on Thursdays. And they stuck to that schedule for the most part, again, like most of these teams. As I mentioned before, Jackie Robinson Day weekend at home, the Phillies wore the pinstripes all games on the weekend, and 2 of those games were day games. So they would have wore the cream. Instead, they wore the pinstripes. And there were also 2 doubleheaders where they wore the cream uniform in both games, even at night, which kind of goes against the schedule. And also, there was one Saturday where there was a night game and they wore the cream. And on Sunday, August 9th, they had a doubleheader when they wore the powder blue uniform both times. So all the doubleheaders they wore the same uniform, which is very interesting. And the last team, we have the Washington Nationals, with by far the most uniforms. But there was a caveat to this. They did not wear the red this year, and they did not wear this one. They cut back on it a lot. You can see over here on the top right, they had a home champions uniform, which is basically the uniform that MLB allows teams to wear when they win the World Series. It's trimmed in gold, and most teams, after they win the World Series next year, they wear it in like their home opener and 1 or 2 other games. The Nationals, they basically made this into their permanent lineup. They wore it 22 times last year, which understandably why they wore the red a little bit less. As for the home navy blue uniform, they had previously worn those on Tuesdays, home Tuesdays, from 2018 to 2019, but they made that more frequent this year. They wore that 9 times. And for the last game of the year, they went back to what I would consider to be their primary home uniform, that standard Nationals one with the normal letters and numbers. And as for the road gray uniform, they wore that 16 times. One time at Nationals Park, their home ballpark. It was like the first doubleheader of the year, caused by like the weird scheduling. And since teams didn't really know what to do, the Nationals, since they were the road team, they wore the road uniform at their home park. No other team did that the rest of the year. And as for the road navy blue, they started wearing that one on the road for the first time in 2020, and they wore that 13 times. So that is all for Patch Stats today. If you want to watch some more Patch Stats, this is my most recent upload, and this is a video YouTube recommends you watch. Have a happy holiday, everyone, and Merry Christmas. We'll see you next time.